artificial intelligence. I've talked about this before, but there's a new kid on the block that is changing the game, ChatGPT. I see a lot about the tool in the tech space and have started to play with it in the marketing space, and I think it's a game changer. In 3 to 5 years, I think it's going to be a must-have tool for businesses, for marketers, just like Google search. So today I'm going to give you a high level of what it is and how you can start playing with it to help you market your business. Full disclaimer, it is not time to worry about if this is going to replace humans. It's not.
Inkyma's Marketing Strategies is a podcast for small business owners hosted by Audrey Kirchner, co-founder and chief marketing strategist at Inkyma, helping you navigate the world of marketing so that you can market your business in the right way, see growth, and thrive regardless of the industry you're in. To learn more about Inkyma and what we do, ask a question, or schedule a marketing evaluation, go to the website inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. Listen to the show on your podcast player of choice, the Inkyma website, or the Inkyma YouTube channel. Just search for Inkyma Marketing Strategies and you'll find what you need.
So let's go over a little bit of housekeeping stuff like I usually do. I'm going to make product recommendations, links to articles, other podcast episodes, and all of that is in the show notes of the podcast on Inkyma.com. So go over there, look for this episode, and all of that will be in there, including a rough transcript of the entire episode so you can read along or find what you need. When I make product recommendations, oftentimes we are partners with those companies because we use those tools day in, day out for our marketing, our customers' marketing, and we want to make sure that you get to use the best just like we do. So by clicking on the links that I provide you, we do get a small commission back, and that helps us keep creating all this really great free content for you. So please use our links if you are going to be getting one of the products. So I would like to invite you on a journey with me. I'm exploring ChatGPT. No one is an expert in this right now. It's just too new. And I'm really enjoying the process of figuring out something brand new like this that is finally where it needs to be useful at a global, really large scale in the marketing industry. And so what I'm going to do is on the Marketing Masterminds YouTube channel, I'm going to be sharing this journey and exploration. So as I find things, I'm going to be posting videos about it, ideas, prompts, which I will talk about in a few minutes. So if you'd like to come on that journey with me, in the show notes is a link to the Marketing Masterminds YouTube channel. Click on it, subscribe so that you get notified when all of the new videos come out. Plus there's other marketing stuff on there too. It's not just ChatGPT. Or you can just simply go over to YouTube, do a search for Marketing Masterminds. Our handle is @Marketing Masterminds. So let's start off with talking about what ChatGPT is, because that in and of itself can be a little bit confusing. So the extremely short and unhelpful answer is it's a prompt tool to give you answers. Everybody's like, that's great. That's what Google search does. This is very different from Google search. Imagine you're having coffee with a subject matter expert in your field, someone who has tons and tons more experience about it than you do. And not only about what you do, but about business, about finance, about marketing, about finding customers, creating customer journeys, how to talk to your customers, and then how to market to them, where to find them. What kind of a conversation would you have with this person? You'd pick their brain. You would ask a question, they would answer it, and you would follow up with a clarifying question or ask them to re-explain because you didn't really understand a certain part of what they said the first time. And then you continue to dive deeper into that specific subject, right? You might ask them something like, earlier you said this, and how does that affect or relate to what you just said a moment ago? And they would give you a clarifying answer, meaning they'll remember back to maybe 10 or 15 minutes prior when they had said something and reference back to that earlier part of the conversation. And then you may say something like, all that's great, but how do I do that? Can you give me step-by-step instructions? And they say yes, and they write it down for you. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This is what ChatGPT is. It's like having a conversation with the smartest person on the planet about anything and everything, right? Now, only the folks at ChatGPT know how this gets done, right? The voodoo behind the scenes. The one thing they do tell us is that the information that they're using is from 2021 and back, right? And I believe, most of us believe, it's the publicly available information out there on the web, as well as the information that people are putting into it. So when you're asking questions and you're having these conversations and ChatGPT is giving you an answer, that answer is getting stored and then is also being pulled from and utilized for someone else. So if you want a recipe for 2 ingredients in your kitchen, it'll give you 1 or 3, however many you want, right there on the screen. Let's say you want to write a Valentine's Day poem for your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. It will write you one in the style of Borat if you like. And that's all well and fun, but what about for business? And by the way, yes, I did spend a couple of hours writing Valentine's poems from Borat to people, but I won't talk about that anymore. So let's talk about some things you can do for your business using this tool. I'm going to go into more detail later, but just a couple of things just to get you engaged is, let's say in your industry, however long you've been into it, you have products, you have services, but maybe you want to expand, you want to offer more, you want to see what else you can do for existing customers, for new customers. And so you can actually do a search on ChatGPT for unmet needs in a marketplace. Put in your marketplace, your category, some information, maybe the location you're in, and it's going to give you that list. Maybe you're brand new to a category of business that you're trying to get into, and you don't want to create Me Too products. You want to go in a little bit of a different direction. This tool can be used for that as well. Then you can take it one step further for both of these types of scenarios and have it build you a business development and digital marketing strategy. And it's going to give you a basic outline of a plan and what you need so that you can take each of those different sections and dive deeper into it on your own, which I think is nice, having a jumping off point for sure. So let's go through an example of one that I put together utilizing ChatGPT. The business idea that I came up with was a digital business card SaaS product, software as a service. So I put that in there, and I wanted it specifically for business networking in the United States. I'm not ready to take it outside the US yet. That has a lot of other complications to it. And so it gave me a business development plan, talked about the target market that I want to look at, market research that it gave me that I can dive deeper into, product development, what this should look like, customizable templates, pricing strategy, sales and marketing plan, partnerships and collaborations, like who can I work with so that they can offer it to their customers. And really, it didn't give me a list of that, right? It said exploring partnerships, but I didn't even think about partnerships until it actually put it in the information. So it's giving me things to dive into further. And then customer service and support, right? Any type of a SaaS product, you have to have a good service mindset and the types of ways you want to communicate. Then it outlined a 4-point digital marketing and social media plan, objectives, the platforms I should use. Some of these I agreed with, some I didn't, but that's from my level of experience. A content strategy, which I agreed with. And then it gave me a nice little idea of a posting schedule, which I think is great, because that is a question that I get a lot, is like, how often should I post where? And I always say it depends on your industry. And that's what ChatGPT is showing and telling me. And then it gave me 10 social media posting ideas. And I immediately looked at this and went, oh, but I could use these for blog articles. I could put them in emails. I could do all sorts of different things with them. So it's not just social media posts. And then the one that stood out to me the most was success stories from our users, how digital business cards have helped them grow their network and businesses. So it's like a testimonial, but it's a little deeper with success stories. And then I could see using that in many, many different places. So that's just one example of what literally 2 minutes worth of work got me, right? Which it would have taken me personally a lot longer to just put that high level outline together to figure out where I want to go next and fill in the blanks. With ChatGPT, it is all about the prompts. What you put in is going to determine what you get out, right? So if you try to use it like a search tool, like Google Search, you're going to be sadly disappointed. You're not going to get good stuff out of it. Prompts are the language that you put in to ask it to give you information back, right? And it's a little bit of an art and a science, getting a little creative, figuring out how to talk to it. And so there's a learning curve. So if you're a first-time user, or if you've used it before and you were like, this doesn't work really well, here's what I suggest that you do before anything else is go to the Chrome extension store and do a search for AI PRM for ChatGPT. It is an extension that when you get it installed, it actually gives you a ton of pre-created prompts that you can utilize for using ChatGPT. I put a link to the extension in the show notes as well if you don't want to go and search, or if you're not familiar with the Chrome extension store. On a side note, Chrome extensions are awesome. I have 8 of them installed all the time. They really help with my work productivity and finding stuff. That's a whole nother episode. So that extension and the prompts that they're doing will start you off with the heavy lifting. And there's all sorts of things in there, from marketing, for productivity, for web development, SEO, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to go through some of those in a minute. And then the cool thing is, once you start using them and you go back to the chat and you go all the way back to the top, you have to exit the chat, come back into it. It's actually going to give you the prompt that was written. So you can start learning by example the right type of language to use in your prompt so that you can develop your own, which I think is pretty cool. So now let's talk about some specific marketing type of things that you can do and use ChatGPT for. So the biggest one that I see and I've heard a lot about is content writing. And there is a lot of content writing in marketing, right? You have to write messages, you have to write ads, you have to write all these things, podcast scripts, video scripts, all this other stuff, elevator speeches. So all of that can be done utilizing ChatGPT. Right? A lot of things people have been talking about, the big buzzword is writing articles, because it's time consuming. I do not recommend you have it write a whole article for you. It's not there yet. The article will feel a little flat. You'll probably read through it as a subject matter expert and go, this is not quite right. It's going to need some tweaks. And then the other thing that you have to be very careful of when using content written by a tool like this, and not just this one, it could be the Canva magic tool, it could be Jarvis, it could be any of them, is you have to be careful for plagiarism. They are pulling from other sources to understand and rewrite it. And there is a certain level of plagiarism that gets stuck in with what they give you. I did a whole video on how to write an article with ChatGPT support and how to check it for plagiarism. So go check that out. That link is in the show notes if it's something that you're interested in doing. I think you have more success if you start with having it write you a subject, maybe an intro paragraph, and then based off of that, once you've tweaked it, ask it to write you an article outline, give you 5, 6, 7 headings, and then maybe even go another step further and say, for each one of these, write me a starting summary paragraph, and then tweak it from there. So it's kind of like you have to get it from ChatGPT, tweak it, and then ask it to expand on what you've tweaked. And that's how it's going to get really refined. The other thing I like to use it for is email subject lines with a specific keyword phrase in it. So if you've completed an article, it's all optimized for a keyword phrase, and you then want to create an email subject line that's going to get opened, it's good for that. Now, here's a cool thing. Is I actually wrote an article for Marketing Masterminds. It's called Best Email Subject Lines to Get Marketing Emails Opened. Link is in the show notes. In there are 5 key things you need to do to write a good subject line. You can actually take those 5 things, put them into ChatGPT, and ask it to write the subject line based off of that criteria. So I think that's pretty cool. That's really giving it some detail. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually thinking maybe I'm going to figure out how to make this a reusable prompt inside of ChatGPT. So stay tuned for that. And then from a writing perspective, the last thing that I'm going to talk about are social media posts, right? For years and years and years, that's all I've ever heard from folks. It's like, it takes time to write these. I don't know how to write them. I don't have time to write them. So you can actually ask ChatGPT to write social posts for you based off of content that you give it. So AI PRM actually has a prompt for this. It's like for 30, or one is for 10 posts. You just got to take that and then refine it and tweak it a little bit more, right? Because they're all going to probably feel very similar. You might have to give it subjects like, write me a post about this, write me a post about that. And that's going to help you a little bit further. So now let's move on and talk about search engine optimization analysis. AI PRM has a couple of pre-created prompts for you that I used, and I think they're kind of cool. So the first one is outrank articles. So let's say there is an article and a keyword phrase that you want to write, but the keyword phrase has a lot of competition already. In many industries, I see this where there's tons and tons of articles that are already out there, but you want to outrank those articles to get your article at the top. And so with this prompt, you put in the URL of that competitive article, and then it goes through and gives you thoughts and ideas on how to outrank that article by writing your own article. And then you can follow the article process of you and ChatGPT working together to create that article. And then the other thing you can do is you can also try to put a local flair on that. If you're a local business trying to outrank for that keyword in just your area, you can certainly do that. It will help you do that too. Another one that I really, really like, and it's really good for folks that have a lot of existing blog articles, but maybe they feel like they're just not quite optimized. Maybe they weren't written with SEO in mind in the beginning, or they're written to older SEO standards. You can actually audit your existing content. This is another pre-built prompt. And so what you do is you copy and paste the entire article into ChatGPT along with the URL, so it can see the data behind the scenes, the title, and then it provides you suggestions on what to add or change to the article, and it gives you a ranking, right? So it's going to tell you overall page quality, actionable suggestions to change it, and then it's going to give you new title tags and a new H1 tag to support its recommendations, if applicable. It may love your title. It may not want to change it, so it's not going to give you a title or H1 tag. But those are important things for search. So just as an example, I took one of my older articles that predates our current SEO process. We tweak our SEO process all the time, usually once or twice a year, maybe even up to once a quarter, depending on what's going on. We review it, we revise it, but we don't go back and change articles that we've written a year or 2 years ago, especially when you have like 5, 6, 7 years worth of article content, including podcasts, right? So I threw it in there. It gave me a grade of G, which is good. So that made me feel better. I'm like, okay, at least it's a good article. It's not horrible. But then it gave me 5 actionable steps that I can do to update and change the article to improve the rating. And then it also gave me new tags associated to those recommendations. Then what I did is I went to a brand new prompt inside ChatGPT. I didn't stick with the existing one. And then where I thought that first actionable step could be implemented, I copied and pasted that copy in there. And then along with it, like rewrite this section, add more to it to follow this actionable step. And then it gave me new content. I checked it for plagiarism. And then I moved on to the next section. And then I had a new article very quickly, right? The time it would have taken me to rewrite that article would have been 3 times as long. I did not ask it to do this inside the existing prompt where it gave me the audit, right? Because that prompt, again, it has memory. It knows what it was originally asked and what you need to do. So it would get confused going from audit mode to write or rewrite mode. So just be careful of that when you're in a conversation. You're like switching gears. You got to start a new, fresh conversation. And then, of course, I scrubbed the whole thing for plagiarism just to be double checked and assured so that Google didn't derank the article. I want the article to rank better, not worse. So now let's talk a little bit about market research. Existing business, new business, we're always going to be doing some market research, figuring things out, looking for new products or services, new locations. And so maybe you're expanding to a new location, right? You're going outside your existing location and you need to do a little market research to see who else is out there in that competitive space. So there is a prompt. It's called Analyze the Website Summary. You can actually put a URL in there and it's going to summarize the information on that website, what it's about, who the company is if you're doing a company website. And then it's just handy to let you deep dive more into that business. And it's really quick, right? So instead of you having to spend a lot of time looking at that website, digging through it, trying to figure it out, it's going to quickly give you a nice summary and then you can go from there and then continue to do your market research. And then, of course, there's the one that I talked about earlier, which is, I think this is a market research tool, is an unmet needs in the marketplace. There is a pre-built prompt for that. And then the last section I'm going to talk to you about is productivity, right? We as business owners, we are very busy and we are always looking for ways to streamline our work and our productivity, especially if it's something that we don't like to do. So there is a pre-built prompt called extract facts and summarize. And so you add the content into there and it will extract facts that you need and summarize the content. So maybe you're looking for facts or statistics for a presentation. Maybe you're doing your 10-minute at BNI and you want to throw some really cool things up on the screen. This is a quick way to pull that data out of something in order for you to be able to utilize it. Maybe you're updating your pitch deck for customers and you want to add some different things in there. This will make that process faster for you. So now let's talk about your next steps, about taking action. You can, of course, go and play and jump down the rabbit hole of ChatGPT, have fun with it, which is the way I started. And what's interesting is when I first found it and I played with it, I didn't know what it was. And I was like, this isn't any different than what's out there already. And then I talked to a couple other people that have used it and they're like, no, this is really different. This is the type of stuff that you have to do. I went back and then the magic happened. I understood it. So I would like you to start from that magical jumping off point. And I think the best way to do that is to start with a specific problem in mind, something that's taking up a lot of your time, or maybe not taking up a lot of your time, but takes up a lot of brain power or willpower. If it's something that you're like, oh, I hate to do this, right? I hear it from people all the time. I don't like writing articles. I don't like writing blog posts. I don't like responding to people in social media. Yes, there is a way to actually do that too, is to have it help you write those messages. Or maybe you hate email, responding to it, or don't know how to, like you have to write this email. It can help you write those emails too. Using that as your jumping off point will make it a better experience for you. So the question is, do you have a goal to rewrite or tweak existing website content? Do you have an idea for a new product line, but you're like, oh, I don't want to do the research? Is there a repetitive task, like I just talked about, email or this or that, the other, that you want to make faster? Explore it from that perspective and see what it's capable of, and also see what it's not capable of just yet. Like I said at the very beginning, this is new. I think it has a long way to go. It's got some legs, and a lot of people are using it, which means tons and tons of data are being put into it more and more every day. There are times where you try to get on and they're at full capacity. That's how busy this site is. So here are my final thoughts for you. This is really, really new technology. I'm still learning and playing with it, and I've already found it just extremely useful and beneficial, not only in helping me with my business with Inkyma, also my customers, right? That's what's driving me. I have problems and things I have to solve every day, and I'm using it. So just realize it is not a do it for you tool. Not yet, not right now. It's a get you started and send you in the right direction type of tool. Makes things faster. Gets you from point A to point B faster, but not doing it for you. It's kind of like I said in the beginning, reaching out to that friend and going, hey, I got this going on. What would you do? Oh, here's where I'd start. I do this, I do that, I do this. And you're like, oh, great, I'm going to do that. That's kind of what it is. And then there are instances where it's like, oh, no, I've got this. Do this, and then you're good to go. That's how you use it. So if you're trying to figure out how to do your marketing with this and you run into a wall, reach out. We can help. We have the deep marketing knowledge so that we know the right questions, the right prompts, and the right places to start to dig in and get that information. And so we'd love to have that conversation with you and figure this out. Maybe we can help you write prompts that you can just reuse over and over again, or it's just something that you just keep having us do. So I mentioned it earlier. We are in the process of developing some prompts that can be reused to support small businesses. And like I said, subscribe to the Marketing Masterminds YouTube channel. That way you get them when they come out. I'm actually going to be creating one probably in the next couple of weeks. So definitely go and check that out. Here at Inkyma, we love to give back to the marketing and small business community. You can schedule a 45-minute consultation with me, or we can talk about prompts, search engine optimization, websites, whatever you need. You can also fill out the contact form if you have a quick question, if you have a request for a show, if you have a request for a prompt. I'm actually going to start doing that. If people say, hey, what about a prompt for this? I'll actually play with it, create it, see if it works, and then send it back out to everybody, probably in the form of a video on the Marketing Masterminds YouTube channel. And then, of course, we have Marketing Masterminds in addition to the podcast where we deep dive into how to do things with certain products, product reviews, inspirational information. We're doing all sorts of kind of cool stuff over there. And then if you want more of that type of content pushed to you, sign up for the Marketing Masterminds newsletter. What I do is when I create something, it goes into the newsletter, and then I'll pull articles and podcasts that we've created that support that concept. So like each email is kind of like a little mini learning module for you. So I hope you found this episode interesting, enlightening. Maybe it was a little scary, but it's okay. We'll get through this ChatGPT thing together for sure. But if you found it useful and you think it would be useful to other business owners that you know, please share it. The goal is to have all small businesses grow and thrive together. So thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have an amazing day.